victim witness.
No.
Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about, I thought we had approved additional money for the attorneys, the county attorneys. And I'm not sure whether it was just for the new person or if it was for everybody when we made that motion, because I think it was more than $6,000 that we approved in those minutes, but maybe it wasn't. And I just don't remember what the figure was, and it may have been just for that new person.
It was non-binding too, I think, because I think the chairman said that they couldn't formally increase at that time, but that we'd use it as a basis of discussion for this year's. So, but we did not talk about the rest of the county attorneys' salaries. And with respect to these salary requests for increases, these amounts here are, say this paralegal position. This is more of a secretarial position, and even in the county itself, there are higher paid secretaries or administrative staff in the $18 an hour range. This has kind of been an oversight, I think, for many years from my following of the budgets. I am bringing it to the attention because it seems common sense that these people are our only two support staff, and if we lose one of them, it's a tremendous deficit to the office and to the administration of cases. And these people have been with the office for a good number of years. So I am bringing it respectfully before the delegation for consideration. I'm not faulting the commissioners for making their county-wide decision of 30 cents an hour. But in today's day and age, what we asked back in the previous delegation meeting was that these people are working on an hourly basis, but yet many times they don't. They're not working on they're working on a salary, because we don't pay overtime in the county attorney's office, and the expenses of, say, the victim witness or whatever, we do pay mileage, but there are so many more expenses that we just can't, because we have no budget for it. So these people are dedicated, on time, supporting us and doing a much higher level of skill, right under the director of the victim witness for Wanda LeBlanc, and also for Betsy Rand, who's been with the office and done a great job of organizing and making sure everything is complete and in accordance with the court rules.
Getting back to the point that Representative Umberger made, I think we left that as a fairly open-ended item, that the commissioners could go back and change. In fact, I think I made at that point a comment that all the commissioners did was what we asked them to do in terms of putting a cap on those increases. But that wouldn't necessarily mean that we would be fixed at that particular rate, that there are things that issues that we might reconsider, or the commissioners might reconsider. So.
Any other questions on these issues?
Go ahead, Representative
Alden. I'm sorry, I thought I heard you say that the employees were not salary, but they are hourly people?
They are paid hourly.
They're paid hourly?
Right.
Okay.
But there is no overtime.
There is no overtime.
So it's pretty much, it's how we have to operate.
Commissioner Sorensen.
I think we have to be careful when we have hourly wage people that may be working overtime.
Can't do it.
If that went to the labor board, we might be in trouble.
I understand they're not working overtime, that's what I understand.
Well, if they're here working and somebody picks it up, might be a question.
But if,
Well, we've just so that you know, we are attorneys, so we asked Human Resources to address this with the commission. So we've asked that these people become salaried employees because of the amount of work that they do and their commitment to, I mean, we're not 8 to 5, and when we have to work extra or weekends, which is what's happening now, we just, they get it done, and they put in the time as hourly as you ask, but we do everything we can to stay within the law and within the budget.
So are they or are they not identified as salaried employees?
They
at
are
this
not
time?
currently.
Okay.
They are hourly as far as the county is concerned.
And so you have asked somebody that they be changed from hourly to salaried?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
that's been since last summer.
That's the way to handle it.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think, and I think the commission is trying to address that. Yes, sir.
So that's in the hands of the commissioners then, right now, is that correct? That,
Yeah.
okay, that's under consideration, fine. Representative McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Line 010SS ends up with 19.2. Where is that on your chart there?
That's Social Security.
No, that's Social Security, I guess. I don't have that on the chart. Those are based upon, those numbers were then generated after the budget was submitted, apparently after, on 12/1. So all those were fluctuating based upon whatever salaries the commission put forward at the time.
All right, then I guess what I'm looking for, follow-up please, that middle grouping there.
Right here.
17, the 34, 1701.
Yep.
Yeah, that grouping, where is that in here?
The 34036 is, half of it is 17018 on your budget for the county attorney's office. The other half, Frank was taken 2 weeks ago with the other half. They split it.
I got it.
Yes, Representative.
Tom, I just understood you to say 018, is that correct?
No, that's
That's
Medicare.
Medicare.
Oh,
08.
08.
08, okay.
oh, Medicare?
See, 018 is down.
Oh, okay.
So it's under 0008 and which other one?
You're confused. You said something about Social Security, that's 10.
Medical insurance, Social Security is 010.
Year and a half hanging out there somewhere.
I'm not following you.
You said you have half of it in one category and half in another.
Oh, the other one, half
You
is
gave us 018, which was Medicare, which wasn't accurate. It should have been 008. Where's the other half?
In victim witness.
It's in the victim witness
Thank you.
budget.
Thank you.
Sorry, sir.
And if you change the salaries, all these other figures are going to increase?
Right.
Yes, right. Representative Umberger.
Yes, this has nothing to do with salaries. My question is on extradition. And the sheriff has money in his budget for extradition. What part does the sheriff pay and what part does the county attorney pay?
I can't speak for what they actually pay, but I know that when we request a prisoner, someone to go, we pay the whole thing, as far as I know. Like, for example, that $1,672 was for room, meals, airfare for the 2 deputies, and meals. So
And that comes out of your budget?
that comes out of my budget, it's paid to the sheriff's department.
May I help, Tom?
Yeah, Betsy maybe.
Historically, in our office, the sheriff has paid for expeditions that are close by that are driving to another state, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Mass. When they have to fly and allocate a couple of people to go to Oregon, that's when they send us the bill. And that covers the airfare for 2 people round trip, 1 person one way, and their meals.
Or
They're
long distance, say like New York, something like that, where you have to stay overnight. For example, one time during the summer, we had 2 defendants in 2 different parts of upper state New York and western New York, and we just couldn't do it. We didn't have enough money to go get the prisoners, so we had to work around that.
Representative Bowman.
But I think perhaps to the point, though, that that money does not include what we're paying the deputy sheriff to go. That comes out of the sheriff's budget. It doesn't come out of your budget. So So the $1,600 is for the expenses beyond what we're paying in wages to the deputy who is doing the extradition.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
which are expensive now with the
Yeah.
airfare and gas and airline. And apparently there are new regulations, you have to have two, and they have to be certified to get on an airplane. And
Does that answer the issue about who's paying for what portion of extradition? Yes, okay, I think it does. Any other questions on the county attorney's budget? Did you have a question on the grant?
Well, I just want to, I think it's worthwhile to discuss with the delegation why we put in, once again, ask for the $25,000 on the civil commitment.
Yep.
Oh, and that's coming up.
Yep.
Terrific.
Once a year, we have to evaluate whether or not we're going to be pursuing civil commitment under RSA 135E, which is a sexual violent predator statute. And our case last year, we got probably 40% finished with that. The expenditure was somewhere between $10,000 and $11,000 in expert fees and expenses that the office had to pursue. Kristen Vartanian was assigned to the case, and she did the majority of the work, had to educate herself, because this is a fairly new process. Not many people are trained it's dealing with a standard of scientific evidence, whether or not the expert's opinion, whether these people are sexual violent predators or not. It's a big industry, and it's all put onto the county. And in fact, we have submitted a memo to the delegation to study this in the legislature on 135E because it's kind of an unfunded mandate where it's put back onto the county. Once again, we were able to dismiss this petition because the person reoffended in another area and was sentenced, which takes it out of the time limits that are required. And so we had to drop the petition, but it's going to start all over again this year if there's no reoffending, and we're going to need that money. Just to relate something that happened internally, which we had to go to the commissioners on, part of the civil commitment budget, we had another hearing that required the services of an expert on what's called a Hungerford decision, which is a standard of memory recollection on a juvenile minor of the sexual assault. And so we had to hire an expert. We spent almost $5,000. We asked for permission to transfer that money. It's almost the similar category, but we only have a very small amount in our budget for case expense. I think it's, is it 3,000?
Yep.
3,000. And that was at the end of last year. It happened in a matter of a week. The court made a ruling. The county was responsible to engage an expert or lose the case. We had to do it. We came to the commission. They granted a permission, and that's where some of that money came from. This is an estimate only. Last year when we came to you, the range was between $21,000 and $30,000. And so that's how we arrived at the $25,000. If there's a second case, that could double, and we wouldn't have any way of knowing. And I can tell you that these come in with such frequency that it's a very difficult decision for the county attorney or the attorney general to make. And the county attorney in the first instance has to make the decision whether to move forward. If they do, they're committed, and that expense will start to accrue.
I think he's just talked about it.
And lastly, the other thing that I wanted to talk about the budget is last year we applied for a U.S. Department of Justice grant through the New Hampshire Attorney General's office. We received that grant, $23,150. That was for a case management system that all the county attorneys now will have, except maybe one. I'm not sure, they're on the fence. But this will provide new license software, installation, data conversion, document conversion, a better way to share information, a central database A company out of St. Louis is going to maintain it. They are going to come here in April and install this. We've upgraded the county attorney's laptops and computer IT. We did so very economically with Cybertron, and we were able to get new laptops for everybody, and we upgraded all of our systems to run these programs. We have asked for a disbursement for $6,475, which was at the end of last year. I put in, it's a quarterly grant, I put in for that this January. We still have a remaining amount from the $23,000, which will come in probably this spring, early summer for payment. I just wanted to make it aware, because it's not on the budget per se, but some of these expenses are here. I'm not sure if it should be on a line item or not, but I'm just making you all aware that that's what's happening with that as it relates to IT or new capital improvements to computers. And at the end of the budget, we have $2,400 for new equipment. That was a current estimate, an estimate only on a possible new server. We are in desperate need of a server for data storage. A lot of the new data that is going to be concerning our case management system will be monitored by the host for the Carroll system. So that won't have to go through us, but we have to have a certain grade of technology in order to run the systems. So that was part of the upgrade, and the standard IT line, the 13.4. Currently, the contract with the IT provider isn't in place, so this is a guesstimate based upon what we know at this time.
Yeah, okay. So the 13.4 information technology is not part of that Cybertron. That's not part of that. Part of the grant.
Some of it is. First, just so everybody knows, and so it's not hidden, part of this $23,150 covers the maintenance for the Carroll system for the first year, which is this year. And then next year there'll be a maintenance charge. I think it's between $3,000 and $4,000. But we're going to want to, implement that into our IT budget, and there will be some additional costs and upgrades in technology or in internet business, DSL, or what they call VPN, I think it is, or it's some. I'm not very good at IT. But it requires a high-speed access. And we're trying to integrate this with a number of different new technologies. The jail is working on a project with the court system. I've mentioned it to the court system. The Chief Justice is aware of it. We're trying to integrate technology so that we can appear through telecommunications, and then also have the link so that we can work in the courtroom. That's part of our system in the future, but it has that full capability, and we're trying to get that understanding and working relationship with the courts, and our judge is working with the Chief Justice to accomplish that.
Does the video arraignment work through that too? Is that part of this?
All of our laptops have what do they call it?
Skype.
Well, it's like Skype. It's the CyberLink or whatever it is, so that you can appear. At the jail, it's a more sophisticated, and it requires a higher dedicated line. So we're trying to tie into that. We're also working with the Sheriff's Department, because they do have what's called this bifurcated VPN line that Cybertron understands, but it allows us to maybe have the access that we need, and we're trying to do that economically with the sheriff. The sheriff is not adverse, because we're both law enforcement, and we can separate the data and keep it security-wise protected. So I've already discussed that with him, and he didn't have a problem with it, but we don't know where the IT is right now, so we have to wait till that decision is made by the commission.
Yes.
I just have a question, Tom. Are you being reimbursed for this equipment? Is this owned by the state, or how does that work?
This stuff here?
Yeah.
This is all software, and all the files and data stuff will be implemented into our system.
Yeah.
Then it will be housed in a database someplace, I'm not really sure what it is, but it's a national thing where they do it. All of the equipment that we purchased is our equipment. All the new technology, all the new computers, everything is all been upgraded and ready and is ready to go.
So that's all software?
This is mostly software programming and maintenance and technical support, I think it's called.
And so they...
Training.
Somebody in the state pays for it, right?
Yeah.
We're not paying for it.
No, this is all being paid by the grant. And we just did the small capital improvements, I think, which was around $3,000 for the new computers. Is that right? It's around there. And we upgraded our computers, which is the first time in a long time. And we now have, a fairly fast system to run these programs. And the good part about it is it allows you to communicate with the police, the courts, corrections, and other county attorney's office. We're also able to share information, criminal histories, other parts of new technology with the courts for better knowledge. Better knowledge results in better presentation of cases and also a sound basis for recommendations on sentencing. So it allows us to know which is a pretty important thing on what somebody else is doing in another part of the state. So it's really very exciting for Carroll County.
Thank you for taking the question. And thank you for your question, Commissioner Sorensen, because it kind of brings to light about whether or not and why not we're not really seeing it on our budget is indeed the state writing the check to buy the computers, or are we writing the check to buy the computers and the state is sending us a check?
We bought the computers out of our capital budget
Last year.
last year. We were able to do that.
Okay, out of your capital budget.
Right. And we did it at such a reduced expense that we were able to get it into last year's budget. We did upgrade some of our scanning technology and networking with some of that money as well. So it was very important that we did it. So, but all of this is basically for that programming, technology, support, programming, and licensed software.
Okay, so I think to the point of the Commissioner's kind of query, and somewhat to my query is, we just need to find out if we cut a check for $6,475.
I don't think we did.
Then it should be somewhere in our budget. But if the state wrote that check, the state of New Hampshire as opposed to the county of Carroll, then it doesn't need to be on our budget. And I think that's where we have...
This was written last year, I think in December, because we had to sign the contract. I put in for it under the DOG grant form for January, and that has been submitted for reimbursement to the county. And that is similar how we do with Melissa's victim witness grant, and I have to sign that with Kathy Gary, and that has to go, and then that gets reimbursed to the county as well.
But there should be a revenue line.
There may be.
Yeah.
There may be.
Yeah.
If I could ask the Commissioner, if I could just ask the Commissioners if we could just get some clarification from Kathy Gary about the accounting of this grant and how it may not necessarily show up on this budget. I'm not 100% sure.
That's what I don't know either.
Yeah,
I
we
know
just need to
the
ask her
grant
how.
for the victim witness shows up here.
And that's why I called to question it, and that's why I prepared this for today. I just wanted to make sure that the delegation was aware of what was going on and that these approvals, because we did come to the delegation and discuss it, and I just wanted you to know, and how the accounting happens, I leave that up to the financial department.
So we probably will get a response to that before we finalize, and it may be simply showing a revenue line on those kinds of things, yeah. Okay. Any other questions on the county attorney's budget? If not, Tom, we want to thank you.
The other thing is, I just wanted to mention, Joe, we are preparing the annual report. Crime is up in Carroll County. Naturally, with the economy, you're going to see that in the statistics this year. You probably followed in the newspapers all the inundating of cases that we had, high-profile cases, attempted murder, negligent homicide. There's been an increase of thefts, burglaries. All that falls back on the staff and upon the county attorneys. All of them have worked very hard to accommodate that with the decrease in the court's budget. And so that means we have to work harder to try cases one on top of each other. It's very difficult, it's very stressful, and it's very difficult to keep people here to do that. And I just throw that out to you, and that's just the reality of the situation.
The court's budget did not decrease. The court was one of the only places that got money.
No.
Okay?
Well, they said it was 1.5 million.
Well, I'm
On
just
the,
telling
I
you.
don't know.
How they allocated their money is up to them.
Oh, okay. Well, I think they didn't allocate it this way.
Commissioner Sorensen. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
I agree 100% what Tom has said about his assistant attorneys. They've helped us out more this year than any other year in the past. With certain things that have come up that affect us and that affect our jail. The attorneys have been very cooperative and worked hard and have provided the information that we've asked for.
And we're just lucky to have these people here with us, and that's all I'd like to say.
Representative Aldrin.
Thank you. This is a question for the commissioners, and you may not want to necessarily have to respond to it now, but it kind of comes along with Representative McCarthy's issue about this, the quote-unquote stepping on onto the toes. Is it reasonable to think if these hourly people who are switching over to salary, who may be actually working a little bit more than their 40 hours a week from time to time, would that be reasonable to think that they perhaps, it would be equitable for them to receive a little boost in their salary based on the fact that they actually might start working more hours now, officially?
That's my
I
position.
mean, I guess to the commissioners, would that be?
We have the same problem in our commissioner's office where at budget time or when the auditors are here, they're putting in extra time. We can't let them go over 40 hours a week, otherwise we'll get hit with the labor board. So they're still hourly. If we decide to go salary with these people, that would clear it up, if we can do that.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
Representative.
we have to be careful because I think there's a definition of what is hourly and
Yep.
what is salaried. And so before you proceed, I would suggest that you really take a look at that and make sure that you're not running into conflict with the law. And that's what we might think of as salaried isn't necessarily what the law defines as salary. But I assume that your legal beagle could probably come to grips with that, help you out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. One last thing, it appears that the attorney is also requesting a salary increase for himself as an elected official. And I think that I had sent an email at one time to Chairman Patton, and that hopefully we will, prior to the conclusion of our budget, look at the salaries of all of the elected officials and make a determination what or if any changes need to be made to that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Representative
Yeah.
Duncan.
I go along with what Representative Umberger said, but I also caution that the RSA is very specific as to when we can do that.
I think it's May or June.
It's before June,
May or
because
June.
you have
May or
to,
June.
you have to do it before filing.
Yep.
I think it's May, April or May.
I think it's right around according to statute. But as Representative McCarthy has said, that you control that. When I came here, I gave up my benefits basically to make this budget work, and it's very important that we stay on budget because that was one of the reasons why I ran for county attorney. So just trying to make sure that we get through this as painlessly as possible.
Thank you. Again. And we do have lunch here, and I'm going to leave it up, I don't know, this may be somewhat dangerous, leave it up to the group. Do we want to take a break for lunch? Do we want to